just to coming in as well, and I think I was only averaging 15 to 20 minutes a game at the back end of last year was just a good way, a quick and good way to get in there and, learn the systems of the team, just to watch from afar really, and get to learn everything and try to watch, I guess, certain players on the field and just like to see how they play. So it was more just a study thing really, to get in there and get to do what I wanted, just to learn. And then on the back end of that, obviously I wasn't expecting to come straight in and, walk straight into a starting side, especially when I think you go back 12 months and you look at the format Zach was in. He just probably won just about every award here at the club last year, and he was phenomenal. And I think seeing him being so good as well sort of gave me that bit of motivation to come into this year and try to be the best I can be, because I didn't want to let I guess Adrian down as well. Would give me that shot, especially with the year that Zach had last year.
At the end of the day, it's what you dream of, playing in the big games, isn't it? But specifically this one, it's been much longer in coming to get here. There's times where you didn't know if the season was going to get up and running again, if the training you were doing on your own, small groups, etc., to keep yourself going was going to be worthwhile. And to get in to be the two teams in the big dance, it's good. It's shown the hard work's paid off, and it gives you a chance in that big one. But yeah, just to show obviously the derby as well. Myself being a local lad right on the border in Billings, you're a bit 50-50 there. You brought up on the derby and it meaning so much to you, and it's instilled into you from a young age, from your parents, grandparents, all the way down. And it's a constant. So it's good to have the two teams there.
A few weeks ago was the only a full game against Saints, and the one last year I think I came on 10 minutes ago or something, but it's a crazy atmosphere. Even without a crowd there, the build up towards games against Saints, it's good to be a part of. It's a good experience to have. Coming from Australia, I wasn't too sure about the local derby and what it meant to them, but it means so much to both sides. The players in general, the coaching staff, and I know here at Wigan, the community in general. It means such a lot to them, and especially it's obviously going to be a high intensity game because of those reasons, but you always have to be at a high intensity because of the certain players that they have in their squad as well. So it just makes a really good matchup.
As I say, you want to be involved in the big games. That's why you play the games that you dream of when you're a young lad. And to miss out on one, it was difficult. I was fortunate enough to play in one last year, which was good, and obviously again fortunate enough to be on the verge of taking the field in another, albeit in potentially different circumstances. But it's probably, in some ways, it adds to the grand final. In the different circumstances, I don't think we found ourselves in this position before as a sport, and with the potential that we might never find ourselves in that position again.
Growing up watching rugby league on television, remember those big games, the semi-finals, the grand finals, and things like that. And I think for me, it's been quite a long while coming. I think, like you said before, being back in Australia, missing the semi-finals there due to injury that year, something that I've held on to, I think, and motivated me the last few seasons to try and get back to where I needed to be in that form and back in that stage, being in semi-finals and things like that. So, from my experiences now, obviously, it's my first grand final at the top level, and it's been an enjoyable week already, even though things have we're pretty limited on what we can do and things like that. But just the camaraderie in and around training, that like all the jokes, all those things. It's the last week coming up. It's do or die. It's for the grand final, and you've got people that are leaving at the end of the year as well. It's something that it's really great to be a part of. Not only the game, but just everything leading up to it.
Well, again, Christian just kind of instilled into us as well as Justin did, in that you've got to enjoy what you're doing. We all enjoy rugby. That's why we get involved in it to begin with, regardless of what your position might be in the game. From a coaching point of view, the players all start as fans, and so that's what you've got to do. You've got to make sure that you try and enjoy it, and you have that enjoyment, and generally that takes a bit of pressure off yourself when you're playing. And at the end of the day, I've already said it, but you know, it's a dream to be taking part in the big games. You know, they're the ones that you want to enjoy, and they're the ones that you want to get to.
You know, I remember I was still in high school when I was watching Lachlan play, and you know, he's obviously he's in the contenders for a reason. He's someone as a fullback that I think he's got his execution on the plays is something that I could sort of take note of. I think his percentage there when he's at the back and hitting the right pass is something that you know, very limited people can do. So he's got that. His organisation skills, you know, in defence as well. You know, that's half the reason why Saints are going so well. Obviously, they're a well defensive drilled team, and that comes down to him organising and things like that. You know, he's pretty much an all-round player, to be honest. The attacking things and things like that, I remember, like I said, watching him for all through high school. You don't forget watching those sort of plays when you're growing up. And on top of that, you know, he does a high percentage of their kicking as well. So he's manager. He knows where to puts the ball in the end of sets. So just about everything, really. He's pretty much an all-round player.
Well, again, I think you just hit it on the head. Obviously, Man of Steel last year, he's a quality player. You know, he's a constant threat. He's always coming at you. People talk about him carrying the ball a lot, but, you know, he's carrying, looking to play all the time. You know, he makes things happen. He gets bodies in motion around him, and he's good at picking the right pass at the right time, or potentially the right kick. You know, he's a real quality player, and he's someone that you've always got to be prepared for. He's a constant threat coming at you. He's not somebody that, you know, dips his toe in and out of a game. He's always on the go, and, you know, he's a huge threat, and, you know, key to a lot of the good things that Wigan do.
I'm expecting pretty much the same as we did a few weeks ago, to be honest. You know, it was a high intensity, and we definitely know it's going to be that. It's the grand final. You know, it's the local derby and things like that. So, but in comparison, it was right up there with one of the toughest games I played. It was played at such a quick rate, and I think the ball was in play for, you know, quite some time until that first break. I think it was a kick out on the full. But, you know, especially with the new rules, speeding up the ruck, the ball being in play for such a long time, is right up there with one of the highest intensity matches that I've played in.
I think Christian, you know, he's instilled quite a lot. He's come with a tough mentality. You know, it's something that we've had to learn. I think that was something that we went away from at times in previous years, and, you know, we've had to get back to understand when to play, when not to play. I think he's instilled that into us, and obviously put a big emphasis on our defence.
The fact that, you know, we don't. No one tries to go out and solve it on their own. You know, we all have that trust in each other, and composure is something that we've spoken about all year. It's what we're going to need, especially in these big games. It doesn't just go out and happen in the first 5 or 10 minutes. You definitely need that composure and patience. You know, and we feel like we've become good at that. But, you know, to the opposite of that, I think we've got to take the lessons away from that and try to get off to the best start we can possible.
We finished second in the league. You go into the game, which is a 50-50 game. You know, Wigan are a quality side. Just as Salford were, you know, Salford had earned the right to get there last year, and it's something that, you know, as a team, from all involved, not just the players, you know, the staff and everybody else that's involved, it's a massive achievement to get there. And, you know, I think that's probably nothing really changes. You know, it's a result and a reflection of all the hard work that you've put in through the year, and, you know, to get to the big stage again, you know, that's everyone's goal at the start of the year, and there's just 2 teams left now.
I think just me personally, it's my first full year here in Wigan, and the main memory, obviously, if we win this will stick there pretty high, but away from rugby league in general, I think the friendships that I've made along the way in this, you know, such a crazy year, you know, I'll remember these sort of things forever. And, you know, it obviously hasn't been the best year, and everyone's pretty limited to what they can do, but I think that's made, you know, the connection between our teammates stronger. You know, coming into training, now everyone looks forward to coming in. Not saying we didn't do that before, but then even after training, you know, everyone will sit around now and chat, and we'll be here for an hour or two after training, just, you know, making the most of these memories, because, like I said, although we're pretty limited, and it hasn't been that good of a year away from rugby league, you know, it definitely has made us closer. So, you know, everything on the field has been good, of course, but you know, the friendships that I've made along the way, I think is what I'll take away from it most.
Obviously, you know, 100%. It's been a crazy year. I think probably again away from the rugby, some of it was obviously my little lad was born last year, and my missus was still on maternity leave during the lockdown, and to have that time with him constantly every day was fun, and being able to just go out and do a bit of training while he was having a nap, it's something that if we have another, I won't get a chance to do again. It was fantastic to see him develop so much in that period of time, and I know that might have been a bit be a bit selfish in that none of the other family were allowed to come and see him, obviously with the lockdown. But that time is something that I definitely wouldn't get back, and it was a great time to have. And pretty much the lockdown got lifted as my missus went back to work. So that was a great time. And then probably similar to Bevan, kind of as restrictions got slackened a bit, and you could train in small groups on a field and meeting 6 households and stuff like that, being able to just get down to the field and get back training with the lads, and just in groups of 6, you realise how much enjoyment and how privileged we are to do what you do for a living, what you love. Was something that probably takes you back to the reasons why you play the game sometimes, when the pressure sometimes gets on top of you on the week-to-week games, having that realisation of how much you miss it when you're not playing. You get that in terms of if you're missing through a long-term injury, and I know obviously I've experienced that. Touch wood, I've been pretty healthy for the last few years, and you kind of sometimes take for granted how lucky we are to do what we love, and being able to just essentially go down to the field and have a training session with your mates was something that was great. And obviously, similar to Bevan, the relationships just did build stronger, and that togetherness within the group.